Hello everyone and welcome back to the I Know Good channel. Yes, we are back once again, about fourth video in a row now, in days. Today, I'm going to be counting down my top 10 Marvel heroes that aren't in the MCU, that I want to see in the MCU very soon. Now, this video is going to be quite interesting because, there's a lot of Marvel characters out there that aren't in the MCU. And I had to pick 10, and everyone's gonna have different answers if I ask them their top 10. So it's definitely gonna be interesting. So here's my top 10. First up on the list is going to be Spider-Woman, and not just any Spider-Woman. There's a lot of versions of Spider-Woman, and I picked Jessica Drew's Spider-Woman. And the reason I picked her is because she's a more interesting Spider-Woman, because she's not just another version of Spider-Man from the multiverse. No, she's her own character, and she actually hardly spends any time with Peter Parker's Spider-Man. So she's basically a female. Her name is like just Spider-Man but female, but she's her own character, which makes her interesting. And you'd think she has the exact same powers and a very similar suit, but nope, quite different suit with a few similarities, and completely different powers and completely different origin story, which I think's very interesting. And I mean, we need more Spider-Man related heroes in the MCU. Like almost every Marvel hero has some sort of hero that is related to them in some way. Like Iron Man, he has War Machine, which is basically another version of Iron Man. And Captain America has, take your picks, Sam Wilson, Falcon, and also has Winter Soldier, Bucky Barnes. But in Spider-Man, who does he have? Absolutely no one. And if they do introduce any sort of Spider-Man related hero, it would be Spider-Woman. And like I said before, she doesn't spend too much time with Spider-Man, but yet again, War Machine is becoming his own hero now, but he's still a Spider-Man related, Iron Man related hero. So second character on the list, which by the way, this isn't even in order, is going to be White Tiger. Now honestly, I don't know very much about this character. I hardly know anything, but what I do know is that the character does share some similarities with Black Panther, and if this character joins the MCU at some point, I would like to see a team up with Black Panther, whether that's Shuri or T'Challa or whatever, and Baku, I don't care. And the reason I'm saying just the character instead of he or she is because also a lot of different characters in the comics have taken up the mantle of White Tigers, so that's another similarity the character shares with Black Panther. But the main one I would like to see is the one from the Ultimate Spider-Man, because that's the one I've seen the most, and the only one I've seen in like on TV on my screen. And honestly, she's pretty cool. So and she's probably the most popular version of White Tiger. So yeah, I'd love to see White Tiger at some point. Okay, next up on the list now is Captain Britain. Now, honestly, yet again, I don't really know too much about this character. The first time I was ever aware of this character's existence was when playing Lego Marvel Superheroes, and I thought, wow, this character is pretty cool. The suit looks cool, and I've just thought, it's a cool idea having a British version of Captain America, because Captain America is a very patriotic hero, and he's a very popular hero. He stands for his country, and what if other people want a character like that for their own country? Me, who is British, a character named Captain Britain is actually pretty great. And there's rumours, I've heard stuff about him appearing in the next Doctor Strange. I don't know if that will happen. If it does, That would be great. And I've also heard rumours that Henry Cavill will play him. And is he British? Who knows? I don't know. But, I mean, it could be a good choice. Who knows? Might be good. And, yeah, he can be a very different character in comics, you know. He changes in different sort of comics. So it'll be interesting to see what version of Captain Britain they go for. Alright, now we've got the Ghost Rider now. Out of everyone on this list, is probably the character I want to see the most. Because, honestly, I've always been quite a fan of Ghost Rider. Even when I was younger, I've always been a fan. Ever since I found out there was a Marvel character that rode a motorbike, and his head was on fire. It was just a flaming skull. And he, he could suck people's souls out, which is pretty cool power. And he can also, sort of use his hands or something as a flamethrower, and he has these chains, he's just not someone you should mess with. And those early Ghost Rider films that came out in 2008 to 2012, honestly, they definitely weren't the best Marvel films, but in the second one, I really like the effect on Ghost Rider. I think the CGI looks great, and honestly, if they go for a similar design as they did in the second Ghost Rider film, I'd be all up for it, because that looks great. Yeah. I also want to mention the fact that Ghost Rider was in Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., which is supposed to be part of the MCU, but honestly, I don't think the films are going to acknowledge it. I don't think it's canon. I think they're just going to treat it like it's in another universe or something. And so Robbie Reyes never really happened. And would is it the Robbie Reyes Ghost Rider I would want to see in the MCU? Honestly, eventually, yes, that would be cool. A version of Ghost Rider that instead rides a car would be quite interesting. But honestly, I want to see Johnny Blaze. And then maybe after that, I'd like to see Cosmic Ghost Rider, because he's pretty cool. So our first villain on the list, and maybe only, I don't really know, I can't remember, is going to be Doctor Doom. Now, villains are going to be allowed on this list, by the way. So that's good then. Doctor Doom is one of the best villains, not only in Marvel Comics, but probably in, villain history, fictional villain history. Because, I'm pretty sure they took inspiration from Doctor Doom to make Darth Vader. That's what I heard. I don't know if it's true, to be honest, but if they did, then wow, because Darth Vader is, one of the most popular and well-known and beloved villains in cinema history. And if they took inspiration from Doctor Doom to make him, then Doctor Doom is a great villain. Don't let the Fantastic Four films fool you. The Fantastic Four films just make him uninteresting and not compelling at all. But the Marvel Comics, he is interesting and compelling. And I think the MCU will be able to handle him right and do justice to the character. So, yeah, I can't wait to see him. And hopefully he could even be the next big bad after Thanos, who knows? While we're on the topic of villains, let's talk about Super Squirrel now. I believe they will introduce him eventually, because, Marvel are definitely, starting to do way more things with the Squirrels than just Captain Marvel. I mean, he was in the Far From Home credit scene. We know they'll probably appear in Captain Marvel 2. Not only that, we're getting a Secret Invasion Disney Plus show, which is based on the comic that probably made the Skrulls really big names in Marvel, and is the main reason people were excited to see them in the MCU. And it's hard to say if Super Skrull will be the same as he was in the comics. I mean, who knows, they might even make him a hero. We didn't expect them to make, Skrulls and friendly people in the MCU. But to be honest, I'd rather see him as a villain, and he could even be the villain of one of the Fantastic Four movies, which would be pretty cool. And the main thing that makes Super Skrull stand out over all the other Skrulls is that he possesses the powers of each member of the Fantastic Four. Now, that's a foe that would be hard to fight, and that's why I think in at least one of the Fantastic Four movies, he should be the main villain. Now we have Beta Ray Bill, and for quite a while now I've been wanting to see him in the MCU. Ever since I started learning about him, when like the people were talking about how Stormbreaker was going to be in Infinity War, and they were talking about how Beta Ray Bill was the original owner, I started getting into the character of Beta Ray Bill, and he's probably like one of my favourite Marvel characters now in the comics that aren't yet in the MCU, because like he's just so interesting. Like, it's not even clear if he's good, if he's bad, if he's both. I mean, he defeated Thor in a fight, so he's pretty strong, and he wielded Stormbreaker, and man, if he shows up in Thor Love and Thunder, he better wield Stormbreaker, and I would like Thor and him to fight at some point, like at least once, and then they'll team up near the end to fight Gore the God Butcher or something, alongside Jane Foster and possibly the Guardians of the Galaxy. So yeah, we've seen his species in the MCU in Endgame, but this character, I hope we see them in Thor Love and Thunder. Taika Waititi said it's up in the air, and honestly, he almost appeared in Thor Ragnarok. That was actually an Easter egg for him. So clearly, people that are working for Marvel are aware that, you know, Beta Ray Bill's a cool character and that people want to see him. Now, I would also love to see Punisher in the MCU. He's similar to Ghost Rider. I was a fan of him when I was quite younger. I'm pretty sure at one point he was my favourite Marvel character. I don't know why I was loving someone so violent at such a young age. He's not really, I don't love him as much now, but I'm still quite a fan of him, and I've been wanting him to be in the MCU for quite a while now, and technically he kind of was with the Netflix series, but yeah, again, I don't think they're really going to treat those as canon. So if they do bring him into the MCU, I think they should get the actor from the Netflix series is Daredevil and the Punisher series, because man, he was the best version of Punisher we've ever had, and I don't think he should go to waste. I mean, even the actor said that he wants to come back, and we all want him to come back because he's like the perfect Punisher. He's literally like Robert Downey Jr. level perfect, and yeah, and like I said before, when I was talking about Ghost Rider, I would love to see Cosmic Ghost Rider in the MCU, and Punisher is actually Cosmic Ghost Rider, so that could be something that happens to his character in the future, which would be very interesting to see. And I know Marvel are known to be PG-13, and Punisher isn't really the PG-13 kind of character, but the thing is, in Endgame, we saw Ronin slit someone's throat, and it was quite a violent scene, and when I saw that, that's when I thought, I think Marvel could do well with characters like Deadpool and Punisher. Alright, now we've got Colossus on the list. Now, honestly, this is one of them X-Men characters that really gets pushed to the side, especially when it comes to the X-Men movies. In the X-Men movies, they really did him dirty. I'm pretty sure they killed him off in a really crappy way, to be honest, and honestly, he just wasn't the big Colossus that we all know. I don't even think he was Russian in the X-Men films. He didn't really sound Russian. Or is that just me? I don't think he was Russian, and he is supposed to be Russian. I quite like the version that we had in Deadpool, but honestly, he was just used for gags quite a lot. They used him quite a lot as a joke, a way to make the audience laugh with the things he said and the things he did, like how he's like, I prefer not to hit women, so please stand down, and then gets punched. Things like that. I like the character design in Deadpool. I like that they made him Russian, and I liked a lot of things about him, but he wasn't really much of a character there. He didn't have like an arc or anything. So what I would like to see him in the MCU, possibly even like the same version of him in Deadpool. Not the exact same, but like same character design, same voice actor, and all that. And man, I feel he's just an underrated character. Colossus is just so cool. nothing really too much about his character I care about, but just how he looks, his powers, they're just great. And we hardly ever get any Russian superheroes. We only have Black Widow, Red Guardian, and that's pretty much it. And it's a top 10 video, and we are now on our last character, the 10th character, which is Venom. And honestly, I think this is the character on this list that will have a least likely chance of seeing soon, because Sony have the rights to the character and they are already making a Venom franchise. And honestly, I would love to see him in the MCU, because in Marvel Comics he is quite a big character, not just for Spider-Man but for the whole of Marvel Comics. I mean, his first appearance was technically Secret Wars, which is like one of the biggest Marvel crossovers that ever happened. So that's pretty mad, you know. And honestly, I don't think Venom's been done quite justice on screen yet. He wasn't too great in the Venom movie, to be honest. He definitely wasn't too great in Spider-Man 3, you know. He's just such a great character, and the Venom movie was just sort of meh, to be honest. But I have hope in Venom 2 that it'll be done right. But honestly, I think the best place he could be is the MCU. I'd like to see him as a villain at first, but then he'll start teaming up with heroes like Spider-Man, and then eventually he'll become a full-on hero, and possibly, I know this sounds weird, but Venom could join the Avengers and, you know, fight Doctor Doom or Galactus or something, whatever they're leading up to. Venom's probably actually one of my favourite characters in the Marvel Comics, because he's a bit more, complicated than just a villain or a hero, you know. His main issue is Spider-Man. He didn't like Spider-Man because he believes Spider-Man didn't treat him well as a person. So, yeah, that's my top 10 list of characters that are in Marvel Comics that aren't in the MCU that I want to see in the MCU very soon. Okay everyone, we've reached the end of the video. Honestly, this video was longer than I expected, which honestly I should just not be surprised at this point, because every video is longer than I expected. I am rolling out videos quite fast. This is the 4th video of the year, and it's also the 4th day of the year. I'm gonna really try and get videos out daily for at least the first week of 2021, you know. I want a good start to a new year, because last year was pretty shite, not gonna lie. So please tell me your list down in the comments. There is a lot of Marvel characters to choose from. Trust me, it seems like Marvel have put a lot of their characters into the MCU, but honestly, they haven't even put 2/4 of them in. So I all hope you did enjoy my video. Please leave a like if you like the video. And if you're feeling generous, subscribe. And if you want to keep up with all my latest content, click that notification bell. See you all next time. Goodbye.